I think, Sabri, shall we call the meeting to order?
Yes, Pranjit, you can go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Today, our President Shankar is not there. He's in Goa attending the RLI. So, on behalf of Shankar, I take this opportunity to preside on his behalf as the Vice President. I welcome you all to this evening, wherein we have got some great talks by our own Rotarian Tanya on a very mystical subject, which is of interest to everybody. So let us hope we will enjoy this evening today. Now I pass on the baton to Sabri. Sabri, pass on to you for whatever announcement you have to make.
Yep. It's been a pretty eventful week after the eSamjeevani project. There are multiple announcements in terms of birthdays and anniversaries. 14th February was the birthday of Rotarian Mohan Rao. 14th February was also the wedding anniversary of Alice and Sunil Abraham. 18th today is the wedding anniversary of Anil and Veena Sharma. Tomorrow, 19th, Vidyavati Sagar celebrates her birthday. 21st of February is the anniversary of Deepa and Jagan. 22nd of February is the wedding anniversary of Anil and Hemlata Ganna. On the same day, 22nd, is also the anniversary of Rotarian Surendra Singhvi. 23rd of February, next Thursday, is the birthday of Madhusudan Sridhar. And we also take this opportunity to welcome Rotaractors from RIMS, Presidency, and RMV. Thank you for joining us for today's meeting. Yeah, over to you, President.
Yeah, thank you, Sabri, for the announcements. Now I'd like to request Rotarian Anita ji to speak a few words about our polio. So over to you, Rotarian Anita.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Pranjit. Thank you, Sabri-san. I'm Anita, past president of Rotary Rajmahal Vilas. I'm also a co-chairperson in the Rotary District 3190 for a district polio team this year for a zone E. So there are different zones, and there are under you there are different clubs which we have to manage. So just for the new members and Rotaractors, I would like to just give a brief about what Rotary International or Rotary, how it is, fully involved in the NID or National Immunization Day or the Polio Day, what we can say in a common man's language. Rotary International has been working for the past 35 years or more to eradicate polio worldwide. So in 1988, around that time, Rotary International took the initiative and launched a global initiative to, for eradication in 125 countries. And by 2006, it had taken so much initiative that by 2006, only 4 countries were under the threat, which was, one of them was India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Nigeria. And in 2014, India was, I think 2014-15, India was declared like polio free. But at the same time, India has been conducting with the government of India, Rotary International joined hands, and I have been conducting NID, or National Immunization Day, twice a year to, continue, because we are always under the threat from our neighboring countries, which is Pakistan and Afghanistan, that, the virus may come, and, again, we will be under, our efforts should not go waste, where we have been declared as polio free consistently for the 3-4 years or 5 years, last 5 years. So we continue to do this exercise of conducting NIDs twice every year. And this year it was on 23rd of Jan, but due to COVID surge, it is postponed to 27th Feb now, the first NID of the year. Good news is this year on 27th Jan, Pakistan was 1 year of 0 polio cases. So I think slowly our threat should go down, but we should not put our guards down. So we are conducting this NID and will continue to do. So basically from Rotary International, if you see, almost, all the members have contributed till now at least $2.1 billion towards this cause for worldwide polio eradication. And 3 billion children in 122 countries have been benefited with this initiative that Rotary has taken. And we are really proud about it. And it's a really, really big effort worldwide. And so this year, when we are conducting, we at Rotary Rajmal Vilas, we conduct the NID at 2 places, PHCs. One is at a PHC at Muni Reddy Palya, JC Nagar, near TV Tower. And the second one is at PHC in Sanjay Nagar, our own PHC, where we are doing the COVID vaccination drive also. And to give you a number, how much we are doing, at least at these 2, and that will give you the idea like how like throughout India, how it is getting conducted. So last year we ended up at Muni Reddy Palya giving the drops to 8,593 kids in one day. And in Sanjay Nagar, it was 3,766. So that is the amount of impact we can do in one day also. So I really request and invite all Rotarians, Rotractors, spend some time, not the full day, but come at any PHC that you are you feel convenient, and spend some 1 hour or something, take some part. And, we also actually sponsor the lunch and breakfast and water for the PHC workers, because there will be a lot of volunteers who go in. It's not only that people come to the PHC, there are volunteers who go in the small bylanes and go to the houses and give the drops. So we kind of take care of them. We have to, they are doing so much field work. So we try to give them some comfort by, giving them breakfast and lunch and sponsoring breakfast, lunch and water. That is the minimum we do for them. So please come over. You will really understand how we are a part of this big initiative that Rotary has taken. Yeah, thank you so much. Over to you, Sabrisan, Pranjit.
Thank you, Rotary Anita, and my president. So it was nice hearing you, and it is really a privilege to hear you, because you have been the front runner in this Pulse Polio event. And I had the privilege of serving under you and in this Pulse Polio also. So
thank you.
We will join you, ma'am. We will all join
Yes.
you together on 27th.
I look forward
Yeah,
for
yeah,
everybody,
definitely.
all new members also, so that the old members can handhold and show what we really do in the
True.
NID. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your speech. I would like to hand over the mic to now Rotary Director Srishti to give us an intro on our revered speaker today on Rotary and Tanya. So over to you, Rotary Director Srishti. So just give an intro of our speaker today.
Thank you so much, sir. Hello, everyone. I, Protractor Srishti Changotia, treasurer of Rotary Club of Wings, takes immense pleasure to introduce the speaker of the day. She is a person who believes that knowledge should be open to everyone, and so she will take us to the world of tarot, which is what she will be sharing with us today. Rotarian Tanya Raj holds a degree in astrology from the Institute of Vedic Astrology, psychology from the University of Oxford, science of well-being from Yale University, and integrative health and medicine with the focus on aromatherapy and herbal medicine from the University of Minnesota. She is a Reiki master and works through Jyotish, tarot cards, crystals, essential oils, herbs, colors, and meditations. Other than this, she has also worked in various well-reputed companies like Goldman Sachs, Equity, Knowledge Partners, and so on. Coming to her voluntary activities, she has worked as a patron member and social media manager, compliance policy creator, charter member, social media manager, and team captain and volunteers. May I now invite our speaker, Rotarian Tanya Raj, on the dance.
Thank you, Srishti. That was really lovely. And good evening, everyone. So today I would like to present on the art of tarot. And I would like to make this a little interactive so that, we are speaking to each other and I'm not the only one talking. And that way it would be much more fun. So let me start by sharing my screen. I hope everybody can see this.
Yeah, and just to interrupt you, Tanya, members, if you have any queries relating this, just you can put it on the chat box, and Dr. Priya will be moderating this Q&A session. So any queries, anything, you can have a direct chat. Also, you can have it put in the chat box also. Thank you. Thank you. You can continue, Tanya.
Thank you. Thank you, Ratan Pranjit. Great. So to start off, what do you think is tarot? Like you've obviously heard about tarot, but what have you ever undergone a tarot reading, or what is your impression of tarot? I would just like to hear from the audience a little bit. Nothing?
Knowing the unknown.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think it's not logical. It is very mystical. And maybe someone is reading your mind.
Okay. So I would like to break those myths today a little bit. Okay. That's good to know. Anybody else?
Some mumbo jumbo.
Okay. Great. Okay. So we have a lot of people who think it is very mystical. It is mumbo jumbo. It is things that you don't understand, right? But that's the beauty of tarot. So it is not really mystical, or it is not something that you can't do yourself. In fact, I do a lot of training for tarot, and people are surprised at seeing how well they can read the cards for themselves. So just to start off, okay. I put a quote from Nietzsche over here who says that, you have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, and the only way, it does not exist. And I really, really like this quote because it defines the entire realm of what we are dealing with today, or what people call as woo, right? So if we have to look at it, in India, we have a similar tradition of astrology. If you go back into the astrological roots as well, astrology has many parts. There is Western astrology, there is Vedic astrology. And even in Vedic astrology, there are different systems like the North Indian system, the South Indian system. So the thing is, these are all ways, including tarot, is a way to come to the same point, but using different sources. And what it does is it provides different perspectives. So where astrology is obviously very, very heavily calculations based, planetary positions based, you will see that similarly tarot is also in a way very similar. So moving on to what exactly is tarot. So it is definitely a tool to understand our internal world. which is our emotions, our psyche, and how it impacts the world outside. So have you ever had a day where you're feeling down or you're not feeling that great and everything around you seems to be not going in order? Anybody has had a day like that? Sorry, it wasn't very audible.
Yeah, I had many times.
Exactly. So that, those are the things that the way you feel inside or the way your world feels within is reflected without, which is outside. And tarot is a very good tool to understand what's happening in your own emotions, in your own psyche. Obviously, it is a very ancient tool. The roots are traced back to ancient Egypt and Celtic Ireland, where it did start off as a card game. So when I go through some of the other elements, you will see that, a lot of similarities with today's cards that we, use while playing cards. But tarot became infused with a lot of symbolism, a lot of imagery that helps in understanding what's happening in our own psyche. And primarily, it is a tool for interpretations along with divination. So this is key because it's not always telling you what needs to be done or what will happen. It is helping you understand yourself so that you can make the changes required in your life to make things better the way you want it to be. So a very basic example that I always give is, if you know that you're sitting in a room and the roof of the room is going to fall down, you will move out or you will do some repairs to the roof, right? That is what tarot does. It gives you the tools to understand what is going to happen, but it does not change your destiny. It helps you change the approach to your destiny or how you perceive things. So tarot is very personal, and it can't do predictions on a global level. So it cannot say, 2019, the pandemic will strike. That is not the way the tarot works. The tarot works on a very internal level. Moving to what are some of its links and usages. So starting with astrology, I spoke a little bit, right? So there are strong astrological connections to tarot, where it goes by the same elements and calculations of planets. So these are very distinct philosophies, but they draw from the same source. So in tarot as well, just like astrology, there are elements of air, fire, water, and earth that we deal with. The cards represent specific elements. They also represent specific planets and specific zodiac signs. So if you as a person is coming to me for a reading and you're picking out certain cards, it will give me a glimpse into understanding what your astrological connections are and what is it trying to tell you about you so that I can interpret it correctly. So these are some of the astrological connections over here. Moving to science, and again, I know psychology is sometimes called as pseudoscience, but it's still the term science is there. So even from the yesteryears, tarot has been used as a tool for interpretation by many psychologists, including Carl Jung. One of the things he's really noted is that the cards are a way to represent our archetypes of mankind. And archetypes are nothing but, again, just understanding how your psyche operates, where it is coming from, and how it impacts the world outside. And it has helped in making them ideal tools for therapy as well as mental health. So a lot of psychologists use this as a tool to understand, because a lot of times what happens is the client may come but is not really able to open themselves or not able to express what's going on. And using these tools have helped psychologists have a breakthrough in what's happening or what they are dealing with. Another few things that have happened in the recent years is a lot of psychologists actually started looking at tarot, but also its connections to the consciousness. And there's a lot of study going on in Cambridge University, specifically with Dr. Anil Seth, who's doing a lot of, he's a neuroscientist. He's doing a lot of research into how consciousness exists or not and how it impacts our life outside. He has written a very nice book called Being You. If you want to grab that and read that, it's amazing. Another psychologist who's been doing a lot of research into transcendence and consciousness and how all of these spiritual or mystical things impact our life is Scott Barry Kaufman. He's again written a book called Transcend, another great book I would advise all of you to read. It's amazing. It gives a very brilliant outlook into life and things that we don't really understand. We call it God or higher self or whatever, but science has now been able to actually see into these things. So those are really amazing tools there. Moving on to, as I was talking about neuroscience and the work of Dr. Kaufman and Dr. Seth, it is connected with neuroscience. Basically, if you look at psychology, and if, the first few lessons of psychology is always around how your brain is composed or what goes on inside the brain's neurons firing and everything. The right hemisphere is the hemisphere where the memory is retained. And that is also the hemisphere of your unconscious mind. And it is said that unconscious mind is where most of your memories are retained, some memories which are repressed, some memories which have not yet happened, but it's there in the link of the subconscious, the higher subconscious. All of that is in your right brain memory. The way the tarot works, if you go to a tarot card reader, they will always ask you to pick up cards with your left hand. That's because the left side of the body is connected with the right side brain, and it helps access those memories that are needed to come out in the cards. As I said, it's also used in the field of psychology as an aid to understand the symbolic representations. Then moving on, what are the readings and how do they happen? So the tarot is basically divided into two sections, the major arcana and the minor arcana. Under minor arcana, there is wands, cups, pentacles, and swords. And if you look at today's playing cards, they go with diamonds, spades. What are the other two? Okay, I'm forgetting. But those are the four. Yes, hearts and one more. Yes, thank you. So those are the four. Yeah. Those are the four primary minor arcana suites and how they relate. So minor arcanas in wands, it represents all of our energies and how we utilize our energies. Cups talks about relationships, from your parental relationships to your intimate relationships. Pentacles is all about money, career, finance, and swords is all about the intellect. So these are the four areas that the tarot is able to represent and provide you insights into your own life. Now, the major arcana is a very interesting one because it talks about the life, your particular life, and the soul's journey. So from the time that you're born until the time that you die, your soul, along with your body, is undergoing a journey, learning lessons, seeing things, absorbing things, right? So the major arcana kind of represents all of that. And then there's a court suite, which is the king, queens, pentacles, and king, queens, knights, and pages. These represent the people in your life, as well as the characteristics of those people, as well as your own characteristics. So there's a set of 78 cards, basically, and all of the reading is done through these 78 cards. Moving okay, so what do you do if you want to get a tarot reading, right? First thing is approach. So come into a reading with an open mind and a sense of possibilities, because the more closed you are, the more difficult the reading will be, because you are then not allowing yourself to be as open to possibilities that there might be, which you don't understand. Just like you don't understand what is air, or you don't understand what is God. Similarly, just come with that approach that, okay, I'm going into a reading, not knowing what it will be, but let me see what it is. Interpretation, the reader's job is to interpret the meanings of the card and the sequence in which the cards will appear. However, question, always ask questions. I always encourage my participants when they come into a reading to ask as many questions while I'm doing the reading, because at the end of the day, it is your life story, it is not mine. So the more questions you ask, the better it will, better insights you can have into your own emotions and psyche. So moving on to some examples, and here I would like to get a little bit more interactive. There are a set of two cards I'm going to show you, and I want to understand or just see what you make out of them. So this is the first set of cards. Anybody has any thoughts, anything, just throw them out. Sorry, I could not hear that.
It's a major arcana cards here.
Yes, these are major arcana cards, yes.
I think the third card is a sword card here.
Okay. Anybody else? Just looking at the images, what are some of the things that are resonate with you or coming to your mind?
So the one on the left is it's a bird. Something in between is more like some very powerful being with a lot of arms and other things. The last one, I don't know, because black looks a little bit maybe a little sinister, if I can use just a general one word.
Okay, that's good. So those were the kind of things I was looking for. Now you'll be very surprised to know that all these three cards are the same card. It's called the Death card. They are just from three different tarot decks. So the first one that you see is also death. The second is also death. The third is also death. Now, if I am doing a reading and I know that a person who's coming for my reading is super nervous about what's happening in their life, I would go with the first deck of cards, which has much better imagery in terms of making them feel a little bit soothed and not be more scared. Because if I pull out the third set of cards and they see a death figure just standing there, that would be a little bit more traumatizing for them, right? So this is one of the examples how things work. Now, death in tarot does not represent physical death. If it comes in combination with some of the other cards, it can indicate that there's a potential harm to your life, but it can never indicate that, okay, you're going to die tomorrow. Death over here basically means a resurrection or a rejuvenation of life. So something is dying, but at the same time, something new is also coming up. So the first card is the Phoenix. The Phoenix, it dies and it is reborn from its ashes. The second card is the dying of the ego and emerging of the God mode or the God particle that is there within us. And even in the third imagery, if you see, yes, it looks very dark, but if you look behind at the scenery, there's a sun rising ahead. So again, that talks about new beginnings. So death card that represents is all about new beginnings. And this is one of the ways that we interpret the tarot, looking at the images and trying to see what is happening in your life or what is the kind of mental situation that you are in, and if that could be of some help to you, right? So I will show another set of cards, and if you can tell me how does this make you feel, or what is coming up?
Some angels,
Okay.
maybe romance, love.
Okay. Anybody else?
Rashmi says it's Pandora's box.
Actually, who got that correct?
Rashmi Swami.
Rashmi, great. So yes, again, these three set of cards that you see are the same cards from three different decks. It's called the Star. The one at the right side is the Pandora's box, right? The Star is known as one of the best cards in the tarot. If this comes up in a reading, that means there is amazing opportunities right ahead of you. There's luck in your favor and all of that. But because it's a Pandora's box, it is, so if you know the story of the Pandora's box was taken up by Psyche and she opened it. So along with the good things, the bad things also came out into the world. So what it tries to say is that look before what you're stepping into, or be careful what you wish for. That is one of the main meanings of this card, that are you really wishing for the things that you need in your life, or are you procrastinating and focusing on the negative aspects of your life? So as much as it is a positive card, it is also a reflective card to understand, okay, am I putting my energies in the right areas or in the right places? So the theme is the same across the three cards, it's just different ways of representing it. Now, I wanted to show you a live example of one of the readings that I did very recently. And this client had come in because they were feeling extremely stuck. And the very first few cards that came out represented that. So 7 of Wands was their first card, Hanged Man the second, Hermit was the third, Wheel of Fortune fourth, and 10 of Pentacles 5. Now, this is what we call a combination of cards. Interpretation can only be done when there are 3 or more cards together. A single card cannot be used for interpretation. So when this client came in, it was very, very clear 7 of Wands is showing that yes, they're undergoing a lot of physical stress, but also a lot of mental agony where they feel attacked from all sides. And it feels like there's no support being provided to them, which goes into the Hanged Man, and they feel like even gods are punishing. And they are so stuck that they can't see a way out and they don't know which way to go. So the cards, the way they advised is that become a hermit. What does a hermit do? A hermit goes into quiet contemplation. It goes into silence and looks within. So the reason the cards ask them to do that is, yes, there's a lot of conflict going on, but that conflict is also a result of some internal conflict that the client was already going through, which was getting projected onto their outside world. So if they were able to be like a hermit and understand what is happening within, the wheels of fortune have already started turning, which means things are going to get better. And in about 10 weeks or so, they may see a release. So 10 of Pentacles, and again, these numbers, Pentacles release represents weeks, Swords represent days. So there are different ways to interpret it. In 10 weeks, they'll be able to see a little bit of release that's coming into their life with growth opportunities, financial problems getting over, family coming together, and all of that. So this is how a typical interpretation is done. And there's a very short spread I've put here. There are many ways to interpret the tarot. There are about 7 or 8 types of spreads that go into interpreting a tarot reading. And a reading can take anywhere from 30 minutes to 1 hour, depending on the kind of questions that the client may come with. And that was all from my end. So I'm happy to take questions now, and I'll stop.
Dear members, please go ahead and put your questions in the chat box. Let's get more from Tanya. Thank you so much, Tanya. There's a question. How different is it from astrology?
So it is very different from astrology. Astrology is used to, astrology can be used to predict world events. Tarot is very, very personal. I'm sorry about the dog. Tarot is very, very personal. Astrology and tarot are from the, as I said earlier, these are different sources. So think about it like how different rivers flow into the same ocean. So the answer will not be different, but it's just which, are you going to an astrologer or are you going to a tarot card reader? The answers will never be different. It's just different ways of interpreting the same thing.
Could I have a personal Zoom reading here?
But in Singhvi, your voice is not very clear.
The thing is, they're asking is, can the tarot card reading be done virtually also, or should be in person only?
No, it can be done virtually. And in fact, for the past 2.5 years, I've been doing it virtually only. So yes.
So can we try it now?
You want to try it now?
Yeah, why not?
I don't have my cards. I mean, if I knew I had to do a reading, I would have gotten my cards next to me, but I'm happy to do a reading for you separately, Dr. Singhvi.
Okay. There's a question, Tanya. Isn't there an element of luck in picking up the cards? That's what Deepa is asking.
Yeah, not really. So as I explained, whenever you're picking up the cards, you're picking it up from your left hand, and your left hand is connected to your right hand, right brain memory. And basically your left side functions because of your right brain, and your right side functions because of your left brain. So anything that is stored in your subconscious memory in the right hemisphere will be able to direct your hands to the appropriate cards.
Okay. I hope Deepa, she answered your question. Now, again, Pranjit is asking, is it pure luck on which card you pick up, or is it the destiny which guides you to pick up the right card?
I think it is destiny which guides you to pick up the right card, because till date, I've never had a client who's picked up a card and has not been amazed at the card that was picked up and how true it was to the situation that they were working or they had come with. So I don't think it's luck. Absolutely not.
Okay, so there it's answered. Let me ask my question. Like, it's the same person. I feel it's more of the energy level. Some days you're down, and some days you are really happy. And this thing, does that also change in the way you pick up the cards?
Not really. So actually, just yesterday I had a reading, and this girl, she's going through a horrible breakup in her relationship, which obviously, romantic relationship breakups are as painful as they can get. But the cards that she picked up were the most positive cards. So no, I don't think that's the case.
Okay, it doesn't depend on energy. And yes, Rotarian Singhvi sir is asking, do we have a free reading for all the Rotarians? So
I would not like to put that on record on YouTube. So maybe later I'll talk about that.
Okay, for Rotary Rajmahal Vilas, maybe yes. That's what I would say. Then we have the next question. Is it necessary that you get to tarot reading only when there is an anxiety, or is it also possible that people come and get a tarot reading done even when everything else is going well in their lives?
Yeah, it really is your choice, right? When you want to get a reading done. But mostly, people tend to flock towards a more mystical area like astrology, tarot, numerology, whatever, when they are feeling down and out and can't see a way forward. So most of the people come around that time. But if you have to ask me, I generally pick a tarot card for myself every day just to see, okay, how my day is going to be, so that I can adjust my approach to it. So if I pick up a card and I know I'm going to have a conflict with my boss, well, whatever my boss says, I'll shut my mouth and listen to it. So,
okay. We have a retractor who is asking, how accurate is it?
I would want you to try it out to understand how accurate it is. I'm a reader, so I'm biased, but please, you're welcome to please come and see for yourself.
Okay, there you go. Rakshita Shri, I think so she has answered your question. And we also would like to know, Tanya, do you train people who would want to take up tarot card reading as a profession? Do you train people as well?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Dear people, whoever wants to get the training done, we have Rotarian Tanya's contact with us. So please do get in touch. We will let you know. There's a question from Rashmi.
Sorry, I just connected to that question from Rotarian Deepa. So how long does it take to learn? It really depends on the speed of the student. I've had students who have finished it in 3 months, and I've had also students who've taken 1 year. So it really depends on your own speed, and that's the comfort level that you should have.
Okay. Can I move on to the next question? Rashmi is asking, when do you ask the question? At what point do you ask questions? Is it after the cards are picked up or before you ask the question?
You ask the question before, and then the cards are picked up.
Oh, okay, okay. Is there anything that any client asked some questions, but you were unable to answer? Somebody wants to know that.
No, I wouldn't say unable to answer, but there have been times I have declined to answer. So if a person asks me whether I'm going to have a boy or a girl, I will not say. When am I going to die? I will not say, because I don't believe I'm God. I'm just using it as a tool of interpretation. And I have no rights of saying who is going to be born at what time and who's going to die at what time.
Okay. Rotarian Pradeep sir, we have Tanya's, she's a Rotarian, so we will share her contact with you so you can get in touch with her. So Rotarian Sanjay Krishna is telling we must train our employees to read the tarot card reading so that they behave well with the employer, I think, so on a lighter note.
Absolutely.
Okay, any more questions?
Anita ji, any questions?
No, not yet. Maybe I'll come back to Tanya. I have her number now. So
yeah, and I put my website also on the chat, so you guys can go through. I put in a ton of resources there for anything that you want to read up on. There's one question: how much time have you taken to get an
become an
expert level? Okay, so I
Yes.
started reading tarot when I was in 2006. So I think it's been 15 years now. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to
Okay.
know, actually. Quite a bit of time.
So again, this questions are like how again it's going back and forth to the same. How often are the readings accurate?
Again, please come and try it out. I would say till date, I've not had a client who's come back and said the reading was inaccurate. So I don't know if it is inaccurate or how many times it has been inaccurate.
And also people want to know what was that, why did you become a tarot card reading? What interested? How did you get into this subject?
So
People
I'm
want to
very
know more about you, Tanya. Okay. Nice.
So I've been interested in the more spiritual aspects of things since I was a kid, but I'm also a very visual person, and that's why maybe I took up photography under Shankar. But because of the visuals, the card, they were so visual, it kind of attracted me and called out to me. So I learned tarot, but now I'm also doing astrology. So the links are the same. I've been interested in this from the longest that I can remember.
I have a question, actually. I'm a little, maybe I will not say it's a question, maybe a little confusion. Like astrology and all, na, like we have always seen people going to an astrologer and asking like, future mein kya hoga? Like, something like that. I'm still confused with tarot. You said in a day, like you gave some example, like as a fun part of it, that you pick up a card and you know that you have to be quiet like that. So is tarot like is before something is happening and you want to know, is that the science behind it, or like, or
Yeah,
is it
so
that,
these are all predictive tools. These are
Okay.
different ways of predictions.
Mhm.
We call them divinations, interpretations, whatever you want to say it, yes.
Oh, okay. So then we have to be before to find out if we have any question of a particular type, right? Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Thank you.
Rotinier Sundar Prakash sir, you have a question. You have raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Yes, Tanya ma'am, wonderful talk. My
you.
simple question is, the clientele, the men are more or women are more coming for tarot?
You'll be
Because-
surprised to know there are more men coming for tarot
just to
reading.
understand, because
No,
most of the religious function, women are the people who get cheated more. So I'm just asking.
No, that's a valid question, but I have had more male clients and equally female clients as well. But if you're asking me the ratio, yes, there have been many male clients as well.
And the age group, middle age, old age, or
They
teenage?
range from 20s to 50s, 60s. So it's a broad range group.
Thank you so much.
Tanya, we have Deepa asking, is tarot card reading similar to tea leaves reading?
I don't know, honestly, because I've never tried tea leaves reading. I've heard about it, but I honestly don't know, so I can't comment on it.
Okay. Any more questions? It's been very interactive. Come on, people. Maybe maybe if you had the cards and asked us, one of us, to pick out a card, it would have been more exciting, Tanya. We all would have loved to do that.
The thing is, in a larger forum, I try to avoid doing that. If something comes up for somebody and, it's not good, like there are about 66 people here to know about one person's life story. So.
I know, generic. Okay.
Yeah, I think even all the audience will not want to. I'm sure you'll get the calls, or, you will get contacted
Absolutely.
shortly one-on-one.
Happy to, yeah.
Well, our attractors want to know, who is your inspiration for the tarot card reading?
Who's my inspiration? Okay, I have never thought about that.
Did you say it's more about you? Because we want to know a glimpse to tarot, since you told so much about it. So
Maybe you can introspect and let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Tanya, I have one more question. Do you give suggestions like the other astrology people say change your name, J Lalita, T and all this, or
I
numerical number,
yeah, I
car
mean,
number,
yes, I
or
do give
breaking a
suggestions.
house, doing the door opposite directions and all that kind of things.
Yes, I do give, but not from the perspective of tarot. So I also am an astrologer, and I have done a little bit of Reiki, Feng Shui, and aromatherapy, and all of that. So it's a mix of everything. So what you get is a holistic view of when you come through for a tarot reading.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there's one nice question. They said, how do we know that a tarot card reader is a genuine person?
Right. So my biggest red flag for a tarot card reader is if they are making it all about themselves and not about you. That should be, of course, red flag, because then the readings will never be accurate and the bias will always set in. The second is anybody who offers to do a free reading for you. That would be my second red flag. No, why I say this is because, you know, if you, and I've had clients like this, when I used to not charge anything, people used to come and ask me random questions like, will my boyfriend call me tomorrow? And those are not the things that the tarot is going to answer. And if a tarot card reader is answering those questions for you, that means they don't really care about the art or the knowledge. The knowledge should be put to a higher purpose use, not just for frivolous thinking kind of thing.
We have a question. Do you also do this crystal ball reading?
Sorry. No.
Okay. Do you do, my question is, do you do tarot as one single thing, or do you use a combination of things in case you want to give a solution to your client who is going through some situation in life?
Yeah, I give a combination, Dr. Priya. So interpretation may be through tarot, but if there's a suggestion or a solution or a remedy, I would say, is to be provided, I do generally consult my color therapy, crystal therapy, all of those combined to see if there's something that I can suggest.
Okay.
There's one more question, Dr. Priya.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Deepa.
The road tractor is asking, have you been amazed by someone's tarot reading, and how was that?
Yes, actually, a lot of times. So what really amazes me is, okay, let me actually take a step back and tell you. So a generic tarot reading will always include a Celtic cross reading and then specific questions and answers. So in a generic Celtic cross reading, I will spread out the cards and do the reading first, whatever I'm able to see. And then you can ask your questions and I'll answer those specific questions. So every time that I put out those Celtic cross readings and I've been giving my interpretations, and I see the look on my client's face as to how much it resonates, and it leaves me amazed at how accurate the cards are. So yes, a lot of times, not just once or twice.
So how long does a session last, Tanya? We have Rashmi.
Anything between 30 to 45 minutes minimum.
And should these readings be repeated, like maybe after a week or 10 days? How is that? How does that
No, a reading should not be repeated before 6 months. You have to allow the universe enough time to work through what you have asked. It can't be an everyday reading.
Okay. I think so. I've covered most of the questions. Any more questions, dear members? The chat has been continuously buzzing. Can a tarot reader be misinterpreted by a reader or misunderstood by a client?
Yes, all the time. Like we started this session with people saying it's mumbo jumbo. That is a misinterpretation, right? So it happens all the time. And the thing is not to take it personally, because I do believe that something that I know you don't know, but there is something that you know that I don't know. So everybody is different. And don't take it personally and just keep going ahead.
My question, can tarot be used in the mental healing of a person? Since you spoke about psychology and things about. Can that also be a part
Actually,
of a
it
holistic
is
healing?
used, yeah, actually it is used a lot in therapy as well as mental health consultations. I was mentioning earlier, like, there have been times where psychotherapists may not be able to open up a client completely, and they have reached out and consulted via the tarot to understand what's happening. So things like that, yes.
Okay, then this question is, oh yeah, when a person is trying to hide, do we get to know in tarot reading?
Yes, everything.
Okay.
And that is one single reason that I have stopped doing readings for my family, because I started to know unnecessary things which I should not have known about them.
The flip side of doing it for family members. Okay. Well, our Rotractors and Rotarians have been very enthusiastically putting a lot of things on the chat to get to know things. Very nice. Any more questions?
Yeah, I have one more last question from my side.
Please
So-
go ahead. Sundar sir,
Yeah,
please go ahead.
normally is the tarot reading individual, or it's husband and wife can come, or boyfriend, girlfriend can come together, family, or I come with my kid, or it's just personal one-to-one?
Mostly it is one-to-one, but there are specific spreads. There's one called the partnership spread, which is used for like a husband, wife, or even business partners. So those people come together. So there are different spreads for different kind of situations.
Anything else you want to tell, Tanya, to the audience here?
No, I would just say that try it out. It's a very interesting world. Even if you don't believe in it, come for it for fun. It may change your mind. Yeah, just have an experience to know what it is at least.
Yeah, hi Tanya, this is Kirti. How do you handle virtually when you say that? I mean, how do you pick up the cards virtually? Because the client has to pick up the card on the left hand. How do you handle it?
I pick it up from on the client's behalf. Because I'm the reader, I can pick up cards. So even when you're sitting in front of me, while you're picking the cards, if something that I think I should pick out the card, I do that, even if it's it's non-virtual. So virtually it works the same way.
So it works exactly the same way with physical or virtual? I mean, or there could be a sort of a virtual could have a little dilution.
No, not at all, because actually, Rotarian Kirti, most of my, actually 95% of my clients are not in India. They are all outside India, and I've been doing only virtual readings, so it doesn't dilute, no.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you.
And we have a question. What is an ideal environment for a tarot card reading?
There's no, I wouldn't say you have to like be at obviously being at a quiet place helps you understand and focus on things, but there's no ideal environment. The only ideal thing is that you be grounded and be open to hearing what is being said in terms of the messages and the interpretation that is being given.
Okay, maybe you should not do a reading when you're too agitated or when you're too happy. Is it the thing, or
no?
Situation
nothing.
doesn't matter.
No.
Okay.
The only thing that I require while I'm doing a reading is to put your phone on silent, because then that can be distracting.
Okay. Any other thoughts, Tanya, you want to tell our audience? I think so. All have exhausted their questions, and I think so you're going to get a lot of calls post this session to do a lot of.
No, I just wanted to thank you all for being so open in this session itself. It's very heartwarming for me to know, because when even before I walked here, I was telling Rashmi I'm super nervous, and I was nervous because a lot of people don't really, take it as seriously as I do. Like it's Saraswati, it's knowledge for me, right? So, but thanks for being such a wonderful audience. I have loved interacting, and more than happy to kind of, take any questions offline as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Over to Rotarian Deepa Padmanabhan to give the vote of thanks.
So thank you, Tanya. That was really, really fascinating and very, very interesting. I mean, tarot reading has always had this mystique about it, and the way it's portrayed in movies, and we see this colorfully dressed woman, a little bit eccentric, and doing these.
Yeah, no,
readings,
no,
but
no. And that's the thing. You will
reality
see
is-
me just like this. Even in the reading, there is no drama around it.
Yeah, so the reality, I think, is quite different. So thank you so much for demystifying the art and science of tarot reading, and thank you all. Thank you, Rotractors, Rotarians, for joining us. It was really, really wonderful. I've had just recently, a tarot card reading. So, but it was done by my husband's niece, who was just learning. But she did it with such earnestness that I was quite touched by it. So. And I like you said, some of the things did quite resonate with me. So maybe there is something to believe in it. So thank you so much. And with your experience, I'm sure that, the readings would be probably a lot more interesting and more detailed. So all the Rotarians welcome you to get to Tanya if you have any questions about your life. It's a pretty interesting session that I had. So I look forward to it.
Thank you, Rotarian Deepa.
Over to Rotarian Pranjit.
Pranjit, you can take over.
Thank you, Rotarian Deepa, for your vote of thanks. And I would like to personally thank Tanya for taking out all the time and giving us a deep insight into what is really tarot reading into. Because we have been hearing about it, we personally have not tried it out. As you said, we come from one school of thought. So we believe that, okay, that's the right way. So there are now various options available for everybody to try it out. As you rightly said, why not try it out and find it for yourself? So definitely would like to give a try for that. But thanks to you for taking out the time and giving us the insights into what is really tarot reading into. And I would like to thank all the Rotarians who have joined out and all the Rotaractors. Basically, thanks to you guys for joining us for this wonderful evening. Hope you had a wonderful evening learning, at least got some insight. You guys got some insight from what is tarot reading from a great follower practitioner of the same. And I'd like to thank everybody who has joined us. So I'd like to call up the